All right, it's time to refute some things. I've been reading on um, YouTube about a couple of things. First, there's a Facebook string this morning um, with a far right former acquaintance of mine in the radio business who happened to manage Alan Keyes' 1996 campaign. So he's far, 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 far to the right. And he's basically saying that that Obama is taking illegal contributions for his campaign, and that Alan Keyes would never think of doing that. So the string, and I kind of like going in there, and again, most of my friends are on the left, but on the right, once in a while, I'll try to challenge them intellectually a little bit, stretch them a little farther. And the string, so starts out with the campaign stuff. Let's see. I'm going to try to go to that string if I can here. It starts off with the campaign stuff, and then I turn it to a different direction. He states, when I managed Alan Keyes' 1996 national campaign, at one point a Chinese businessman offered to raise money for us. He said he had access to millions of dollars from Chinese investors. Well, I knew that was illegal and declined his offer. Today I read about the Obama campaign receiving a donation from a fake donor that used a Pakistani IP to give $15 from a phony location in California. The donor's name? Osama bin Laden. That's fake, yes, in parentheses. There have been many reports of Obama's online donor service accepting many contributions. Man, when does the corruption end? And I said, there's corruption on both sides, which made them mad, even for me to say that. That made them mad. Jeffrey, just curious if you could name any corruption emanating from the Romney campaign, or are you just making generalizations? And then I said, what I find interesting about Romney is that he'll say anything to get elected. If you think Romney is a saint, I've got a bridge to sell you. And then another conservative chimes in and says, any candidate's job is to get elected. Once elected, his job becomes to govern. Something Obama forgot about. And last I checked, Romney is running for president, not Latter-day Saint. And then my friend Dave says, I laid out a serious breach of law, one that campaigns must avoid. The new technology makes it easier for illegal contributors. The FEC will be spending the next 18 months auditing campaigns, and it is certain these illegal contributions will be exposed. And then somebody posted a book by David Limbaugh called The Great Destroyer, Obama the Great Destroyer, with an ominous picture of him pointing his finger on the book. David Limbaugh will have to add his already, Paul says David Limbaugh will have to add to his already tremendous book, Illegal Contributions and the Benghazi Fiasco. And then I say, what about the super PACs and ALEC and that kind of thing? Certainly pernicious effects on democracy and politics in general. What about the Koch brothers? No response. I noticed that one of the things that Limbaugh contends in his new book is that adult stem cell research is more helpful than embryonic stem cell research. Where is he getting his facts from? And then Paul sends me this article from Seoul, South Korea, a Christian scientist who's saying apparently we can all live together and sing Kumbaya, and Christians can be happy with avoiding scientific research of embryonic cell research. And then I read the article, and then I said, it worries me when a scientist says something like this, quote, Dr. Jean Chanra stated, quote, as much controversy and issues of safety are concerned in the field of stem cells or embryonic stem cells, and an autologous adult stem cell derived from cells already exist in our bodies to help us treat all kinds of diseases, which is a reminder of God's omnipotence. So here's a scientist saying that there's enough in all adult stem cells, and we should be happy because God wants us not to go in there with the embryonic. God doesn't want us to go in that direction. Be very afraid. So he uses this as proof that Paul throws this up to me. And then I quote some Wikipedia, which they probably won't even, they'll be too lazy to read it. Embryonic stem cells are pluripotent. That's the key thing about embryonic stem cells, is they're pluripotent, which means that they can become any other type of cell, excluding the placentia. Adult stem cells, however, are generally limited to differentiating into two different cell types of their tissue of origin. However, some evidence suggests that adult stem cell plasticity may exist, so there's a slight hope for that. So it's the pluripotency which makes embryonic stem cells most potentially useful, that's my point. Why disregard science and stop here because of irrational belief systems? It's not logical. So I'm on the attack now and changing the subject with them, and they're just hating me. The status of the human embryo and human embryonic stem cell research is a controversial issue. With the state of technology, the creation of a human embryonic stem cell line requires the destruction of a human embryo. Stem cell debates have motivated and reinvigorated the pro-life movement, whose members are concerned with the rights and status of the embryo as an early-aged human life. They can believe that embryonic stem cell research instrumentalized and violates the sanctity of life, and some view it as tantamount to murder. The fundamental assertion of those who oppose embryonic stem cell research is the belief that human life is inviolable, combined with the belief that human life begins with a sperm cell fertilized an egg to form a single cell. The status of the human embryo and human embryonic stem cell research is a controversial issue. So if somebody tells me that human life is inviolable, which means sacred, then I cannot argue logically against it, because they were not reasoned into the position in the first place. So there's catch-22. If they only, if they're using this reasoning against scientists, then we have a catch-22, because it doesn't involve rational thought. So, okay, so there is my my opinion on that. It's interesting how Facebook strings have become. I had one right-winger a year or two ago that became so enraged at me for even suggesting alternative viewpoints that he had sort of subtly threatened to sue me for talking bad about Rush Limbaugh. So that's how it gets. That's how bad it gets. Is that people, when you bring up questions to people who are so indoctrinated in their beliefs, when you bring questions up to them that they don't like, they get very enraged. So try arguing with a right-winger sometime and have fun.